LSU was not victorious against Texas A&M. This changes their position when it comes to their standings in the SEC. They're now sitting at third with one loss. And so the question is, what is LSU's new path to the conference championship game for all our, Go Tigers, Bayou Bengal Nation fans out there? What's their path to the national championship?
Yeah, and for the gamblers out there, and even people, just this helps paint the picture of what the likelihood is. Right now, they have the fourth best odds to win the SEC in Vegas at plus 700. UGA and Texas at plus 200 each. A&M ahead of them at plus 400. Tennessee right behind, and then a pretty big drop off. So there's a high likelihood, even with that loss, that you make this game, but it comes really behind one key step, and that's winning out, finishing 10-2, 7-1 in the SEC, and you hold some key wins. If you win out, you hold a key win over Ole Miss and you hold a key win over Alabama. That helps you get to this game. You hold that tiebreaker over Georgia. You're rooting for Georgia. If you're LSU, you want to beat Alabama, and then you want to root for Georgia to win some games. And then your chances, you don't hold your own destiny, but things are looking in your favor.
Yep, definitely. Things are definitely looking in your favor. And from what you can control in your destiny, you got Florida, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and Bama. You got Bama at a crib, and you got 3 out of the 4 games at home. So, you're cooling, right? You just got to beat Bama at home at the crib, and then you got the rest of your games mostly at home. OU could be a tough one. Yeah. Florida could be a tough one. But for the most part, things are in your control. What they now in those games, the turnover bug has consistently hitting us. We saw it against A&M. We saw it against Mississippi State. He's proven now that tough defenses will take the ball from him. He's thrown a pick in just about every Power 4 game this season besides Arkansas and UCLA. And he had 2 against South Alabama. So the path is there. It's how do you perform on that path?
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to have to improve on a couple things. The running game needs to stay solid. They are a pass-first team. We know that, but the passing has to be crisp. We can't have the turnovers like, you mentioned from an LSU team if you want to get past Alabama, because they have been able to get some takeaways. There's some tough games there. There's a path to them for the playoffs. So this game, while it stings, you did a good job of getting to this point, and you still have a really good path to the playoffs too.
Yeah.
If you lose to Alabama, the playoff is looking slim, but I will say there's still a chance to get to the SEC championship game, even if you lose to Alabama. You need some chaos, but there is a shot. And, I'll put in the description at MRed53 on Twitter has built a pretty good playoff SEC championship game simulator where you put all the games in. So I'll put that in the chat if anyone wants to play around with it and test my theories on them being able to get in with two SEC losses. But there's opportunities.
There's definitely opportunities. I mean, you're rooting for teams like Tennessee to lose. Georgia, you want to win despite both having 1 loss in conference. Teams like Bama are kind of hawking behind you. You have the other 2-loss teams as well behind Alabama, and so. But it's still a relatively clear path for LSU. You didn't lose too badly, I think, in the what I would say would be the voters' eyes to look at this game with a bad black eye feeling. We know what you need to see on the field from the offensive side. Defense has been improving. So we'll see how it all plays out. And so, Hunter, thank you for the plug when it comes to that playoff SEC championship simulation.
Yeah, I played with it for like hours today to try to find all different ways for random teams to get into the game. And there's a lot out there, with the way the SEC tiebreakers work. When we had done the preview at the beginning of the season, we didn't think it was going to go much further than, the first 2 tiebreakers, but it's looking like this year it will be making it down to conference win percentage of opponents as the tiebreaker, looking at teams in the record and win percentage of the teams that they've played in conference. And that's crazy to think about and leads to a lot of chaos where it's hard for us to put some crisp, clear projections, in front of us that show LSU's way in. But control what you can, win the game, and root for Georgia. That's kind of where they're at.
It's kind of where they're at. Every division across the Power 4 moved to no divisions. ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, no divisions. And so you're not going to play every team. And so it is very interesting to kind of see how they work through these tiebreakers. Tennessee's playing Georgia, Bama's playing LSU, LSU's not playing Georgia. It's just a lot of chaos. And so coaching controls, coach says, win the games in front of you. And for LSU, I think this is a good story. Even though they lost, out of conference games, whether they're hard or easy, do not necessarily fully affect your standings in the conference. So schedule tough games out of conference can help you when it comes to the resume for the end of the season.